English winners. You know the general process for applying for a job, right? You fill out the application, you get the interview, and you get the job. Well, sometimes things aren't that simple, and I'm going to tell you a story about that today. Have you ever applied for a job in an English-speaking country? Typically, it goes like this. First, you fill out a job application. Usually your job history, where you went to school, what your mission is in applying for this job to get employment in a certain field, things like that. And maybe you have some references at the bottom. So you fill out the application online and then you turn it in, maybe in person, maybe through the internet. And then after that, you get a phone call. They schedule an interview for you. So step 2, you go to the job interview. You sit down in front of a hiring manager or an HR person, or maybe even the owner of the company. And they'll ask you questions to find out if they should hire you instead of somebody else. So you get through that, and then if things go very, very well, you get a call and a job offer. So you sign an employment contract and boom, you're hired. Well, sometimes it doesn't quite go like that. So I'm going to tell you a story from some of my younger years. When I first moved to a big city, I wanted to work on a movie set. And I didn't know how to go about it, but I did some research and I found out that there's a film commission. That means a website that the government sets up to help the film industry. And when I went onto that website, I found a movie that was in production, or going to be in production in the near future. So I found the contact email on that website and sent an email asking if I could be a production assistant. Crickets. I got nothing. No response at all. So in about a week, I go to the college. It's a big college, 50,000 plus students go to that college, and they have a major film program. I walk around and I mentioned to somebody that I was planning on being a production assistant in the movie, and I named the movie to them. Now, they mentioned that they knew the right person to contact, and they gave me the contact information. And so I did it again. I sent out the application, and this time I got a call, and they told me to come down to this elementary school, right? So I go to the elementary school. It's this grassy front lawn, overgrown. The grass hasn't been mowed in weeks because school is out. The kids are out playing, having a good time. And so now this school is being occupied by a film production team. And they have trucks outside with lighting kits. They have jibs, cranes, all the film equipment you might imagine on a film set. And so I walk into the school, the doors are open, it's busy, people are walking in and out, dressed very casually, but some will have clipboards, some are carrying water bottles and things for the food area. That part is called craft services in movies. Maybe later I'll do a vocabulary list just about film industry stuff. But I walk into the school and I just say to some random person that I'm there for a job interview to be a production assistant. And someone directs me into the office. Now this office is just as busy. There's no more privacy here than anywhere else. And so there's still people rushing in and out. They tell me to sit down and they say this: "So, you're here to be a production assistant, right?" And I said, "Yes." And they said, "Okay, I got a question for you. You answer this, you got the job. What's your favorite Led Zeppelin song?" Really? Led Zeppelin? That's the question they're going to use for my interview, whether or not I get a job? So I stumble a bit in surprise. This was probably what they wanted. They just wanted to see me get knocked back a little bit. And so finally I respond, "Kashmir. Don't worry, I'll post a link to Kashmir so you can hear it." And with that, I got the job. Now, it was pretty boring when I actually did the work, because most of it is just standing around waiting for stuff. You're waiting for everybody else to get set up so you can work for like 30 seconds. And then you wait another 30 minutes so that you can set up and work for another 30 seconds. And when you're not doing that, you're just watching an open truck that's parked by the side of the road to make sure people don't steal lighting equipment or to make sure that people don't walk into the shot who aren't supposed to be there. Because, you know, you're making a movie. You don't want some random person to walk by. So there's a lesson right there. Every time you see someone walking by on the street in a Hollywood movie, just in the background, that person was paid to be there. And so my job is just to make sure nobody is there who isn't supposed to be. But it was fun. I got to go bowling with the director and one of the lead actors. I got to be an assistant to one of the lead actors for a little while, ate some good food, met some interesting people. But then one day, after about a week and a half, they call me on the phone and they say, all right, we don't need you anymore, you're done, okay? And I'm like, what? I'm fired? What did I do wrong? And so I'm asking myself, I was respectable as I could be. I did all the work. I was patient. I didn't complain once. I didn't even sit down. Not one time did I sit down. I stood up 12 hours straight, no sitting down. Why are they firing me? And then I learned later, that's how all film sets work, right? Most film sets, they work 6 to 18 weeks. This was an independent film, maybe 6 weeks of shooting. And I came in there at week 3. So here's how it works. They hire you for when they need you. And then because it's a low budget film, as soon as they're done, as soon as they don't need you anymore, they let you go. So if you're going to work in an industry like the film industry, you have to keep trying to get onto film sets over and over. You're always hustling. You're always working if you wish to have consistent income or even consistent hours. And so that's what I learned working in the film industry. I wasn't sure that was for me. In order for me to work in that industry, I'd need something a little bit more stable, like maybe a writing position or as a director. But those things are a little bit harder to come by. So it takes a little bit more work to get those things. So that's my film experience. That job experience of getting hired worked a little differently than, you know, how most jobs work. Now, my question for you, do you have an interesting job hiring experience? Is there any unusual jobs that you went to work at, like at a startup or a construction company, something like that? I want to hear your stories. Until then, please subscribe, check out my playlists here and here, and I will see you later. Keep winning, English winners.